From the WGN studios.
Now, remember, you're all a big part of the show. We're on in 10 seconds, so get ready to have a good time. All right, here we go. This is exciting, isn't it?
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Now let us imagine that you're in the middle of your program.
You must identify your station.
You might say,
WGN.
right here. Here. Here.
Good afternoon. It is the having a baby at the prom, tornado, and puppy mill season. A moment from Family Feud. Name something a policeman does at least 10 times a day. Woman says, goes through a red light. You know what we haven't had in a long time? A good tire fire. The way to get ahead in this business? Glossy headshots and gauzy dreams. I'm Korean, and I am a good driver. Welcome to the GM 720 Summit.
We finished a very productive summit.
I'm Garry Meier, broadcasting from the Tribune Tower in Chicago. On your Cubs Nation headquarters.
Yes, sir.
News Talk 720. WGN. What a journey. Good afternoon, Garry Meier on the Big 720. I am your permanent host of this slot, as permanent as anything is these days. I am ecstatic to be here. Thank you for your support. It's always meant a lot to me over the years, and I will never forget that. Believe me. Believe me. I want to put a phone call on the air right away because this guy's been on hold for a while, and I'll just start off with Dean. Hello, Dean.
Hey, Garry, congratulations.
I'm not going to make a lot of people call and go correct. I'm just putting you on because I just want to say hello to you. I am so happy to be back on the air.
Absolutely, and it's good to hear you, and that's why I told the producer that I want to have the honor of congratulating you and being your first caller.
Well, I just wanted to put that on to say thank you, Dean. I am back, and I am honored that you're my first call.
And I will be listening.
I wish I had a rain hat or some kind of thing to give you from the WGN closet.
No worries,
the ladybug wristwatch, the door chimes, but I guess that's all gone. But Dean, get ready. We're going to have a good time if it's the last thing I do. And if it's the last thing I do, I'm going out like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid this time. Trust me.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it. All right. I have to say at the outset, I want to thank my wife and daughter for supporting me over the last, since I've met them, and I met my daughter when she was born. But this has been an adventure in the last 5 years that I will get into in bits and pieces over the next few months, I guess. But they have been tremendous supports in this whole configuration, and it has not been easy, believe me. And I am not pandering to you who are unemployed. I have been there, and I can say, hang in there. I know it's tough, and I was no day at the beach a lot of those months, believe me. And my wife and daughter were there and took my mind off a lot of this nonsense, and I hope you have that support system as much as I've had it over the years, because it is tough out there. It is really tough. I don't think any of us have ever seen anything like this, unless you're of a certain age who experienced the Depression, but that group is probably a small part of the universe right now. But it is tough out there, and I can feel for what you have been going through and are going through if you're still unemployed. Hang in there, and I'll try to help you along here if I can do anything between 1 and 4 every afternoon to make it a little less depressing. I'll be glad to do that. But I have to step out for just a second here from something that I usually ignore. And over the years, I kind of shrug stuff off and think, well, I'm considering the source, da-da-da. But there was something in the paper today, and I'm tired of it, and I'm going to address it, because I found through all these years that if you let somebody slap you around and you don't respond, they think you like it, and they keep slapping you. So I am responding to this today because I have had it. I don't mind criticism. I'm not above criticism, believe me. I've taken plenty over the years. That's fine. It comes with the territory. But this was in the Sun-Times today in Louis Lazar's column. and I'm just going to address this right now. First of all, he said in this column, he's talking about the 8 years I was at WLS with Ro Khan, and it says here, in a move that perplexed many local radio observers, Meier refused in 2004 to resign a multi-million-dollar contract to continue working with Khan. Meier has never explained why he walked away from that deal. Yes, I did. I don't know. Lewis doesn't read anything, apparently, and I'm not going to bore you with those details anymore. That's 5 years ago. Okay, why do you care, Lewis? How did it hurt you? Okay, I paid the price for whatever reason. It was my decision. I'm happy with it, and I remain happy with it. But that's not what I'm really angry about. Meier's agent, who was also his wife, was rumored to be pushing hard for a salary in the neighborhood of $1 million, but WGN management staunchly resisted. That is a total lie. And I want you to produce some documentation that shows me that, or somebody that said that here. Show me. That is a total lie. Okay, and my wife has been slapped around in these things. She has been nothing but supportive, and she orchestrated this deal and the last one at WCKG, and she did a great job. By the way, Lewis, if you can't trust your wife to do something for you and trust whatever she does, then what's that all about? I shouldn't trust my wife to have my best interest in mind? So what is your point? This is insane, but that is totally false, okay? It's a total lie. I don't know where you got it. Show me the documentation, buddy, all right? I want to see it. Produce it. I'll put you on this show. But I'm just sick of that crap because you let people slap you around and they just keep slapping you like, oh, he loves it. And I have learned one thing. I think at least one thing in the last 30-some years. People will try to get away with stuff. And we've seen it, well, we see it every day in our government or whatever. And once they get away with something like whatever, they start getting away with more and more. And then suddenly we're in this hole. And I'm surprised more people aren't angry about a lot of things right now. I'll be honest with you. And when I was on a month ago and did those 4 days and I got off the air and my mother said, wow, you sound like you're all wound up about something. I said, Mom. And then she said, when I talked to Bob Surratt yesterday, she said, well, that Bob Surratt's got good pacing. I go, okay, Mom, thank you. But I don't know why more people aren't angrier because we're in a hole here that we, for the most part, didn't create. There are just a few people who made this hole for us and pushed us in. And I think it's time that somebody said something about something instead of just sitting here and going, oh, well, that's the way it goes. So Louis Lazar said something today is totally false, and I don't get it. I don't know where he got that. I called the guy back several times over the last month when he called me. I returned his calls, had a nice conversation with him, I thought, yesterday. But I don't know what this guy's problem is. Is he working off the playbook from the mope that had the column before? I mean, what did I do to this guy? Russ, we got some news.
Yes, ABC News is now reporting that it has learned that the gunman involved in the shooting in Binghamton, New York, has killed himself. So apparently the ordeal is over. This began a couple of hours ago in Binghamton, and this man stormed a building and had some people, we believe dozens actually, held hostage for quite some time. Over the period of time, we know some people were released, but there were also reports of as many as 13 shot and killed, several others wounded. The story is continuing to develop. We'll have more coming up at 1:30, but it appears to be over with the gunman having taken his own life. Back to you, Gary.
Thank you, Wes. How about that story that keeps rotating around, it seems like every year now? It is frightening out there. You go to school, and then you're dead. Life is so fragile, and I know this comes off as a cliche, but my God, and this Natasha Richardson thing, I think a lot of people stopped and went, okay, you're on the bunny hill, and then you're dead 24 hours later. And that, I don't mean to sound facetious, that's kind of how it is. It's so much on a thread. And you can't even go to school without some maniac bursting in and killing you. Listen, I want to have a good time here. That's my goal. But there is so much out there that I cannot believe. I wake up and I go, what the? But I have to start slapping back because I've been stepped on too many times, and that's not a whine. I'm just tired, and most of the time I was without a format. I'd be sitting at home, seeing something in the paper that was totally untrue, and I had no format. So I had to sit there and take it. But I'm not taking it anymore. I don't think any of us should. I think we should start fighting back and get the stuff back that was ours, whatever that is, our bank accounts, our houses, or whatever. I've had it. And that's not going to be the tone of this program every day. But I'll tell you what, I'm just surprised more people aren't angrier. And we talked about the parking meter situation here a month ago when I was on, because I saw that already brewing, and then it blew up in the last few weeks. And I'm going to get into that, too, about this Olympic fever here and this and that. I really don't think we should have the Olympics for a lot of reasons, and I'm not trying to be a fly in the ointment here. But I think there are some things we have to look at and then go, okay, then we should go after the Olympics. But I don't think we should, because there are more problems here right now that need to be taken care of. And this parking meter thing, I think, was the tipping point. So that's what I want to get into. 312-591-7200. Hi, how are you? This is the Happy Station. I know it doesn't sound like it, but it is. Now, Linda, what can I do for you?
Hi. I just wanted to welcome you to WGN.
Thank you.
And to let you know that I appreciate you setting the record straight, because it is your life that these people are spreading lies and rumors about. But I wish that you would take a deep breath and just realize that this is the first day of a new life,
yes,
a new chapter in your life, that WGN is a wonderful place to be. I am so glad that you are at WGN, and I wish you well, and I'm very sorry that you have to deal with this on the very first
I am
week
too,
there.
but you know what? Over the years, my policy has been, if you've been a listener of mine, to ignore this stuff. And the problem is, Linda, when you ignore things, and this is a bigger picture, this isn't just me getting a little criticism in the newspaper. This is about the whole situation this country is in right now. We let these mopes in Washington do stuff, and we just let it go, and now they go, well, it's your problem. You bail out the car companies, you bail out this and that, you bail out the bankers, and we were just sitting here working or trying to work, and this is what happens. We gotta speak up a little more and tell these people either do something right or get the hell out of Washington and let somebody do it that can do it. And this is, listen, right here in Illinois, we got this mope ex-governor now who's been indicted, and we got to deal with that. And I'm thinking, really, this indictment, the stuff they've got him in this indictment charged with, it's unbelievable.
I know. Too many people have let wrong go by without speaking up, and
Well,
I'm glad you're speaking up.
Well, again, I'm not going to make this my little soapbox about my life. Again, I don't mind criticism. I've taken it for a long time, but I'm going to defend things that need to be defended if it's blatantly untrue, and that was blatantly untrue, and I want to get that off the table, and we're going to move on to other things, because I got to talk about the ShamWow guy. The ShamWow guy was in trouble a few weeks ago. My God. And I've got a new invention kind of that involves the ShamWow. So, Linda, I'm here to have as much enjoyment as we can have, and that might get a little rough at sometimes because there's a lot of weirdness out there, but overall, I'm here to have a good time.
Well, thank you for setting the record straight. I do appreciate
Thank you, Linda. All right, thank you. All right, I'll take more calls, and we'll get into some other stuff, including I'd like to see if the South Suburban town of Harvey would like to sell its name. I'm trying to help here. The economy is a little wrecked. I'm trying to help, and I want to see if they are willing to sell the name of the town to a retailer or a product and maybe get them back on their feet, because I know Harvey because I went to junior college there. A junior college is a high school with ashtrays. I know that. But I'll get into that and a lot more right after these words on WGN.
Hi, I'm Mike Fontenot. Hi, I'm Milton Bradley.
Hi, I'm Jeff Samardzija.
Hi, I'm Ryan Theriot.
This is Ryan Dempster. The Cubs on the radio.
The Cubs on the radio.
The clock is ticking.
The Cubs on the radio. Can you believe it?
In 3 days.
Wrigley is rocking. Regular season Cubs baseball. The Cubs on the radio.
News Talk 720.
Oh, yeah. Cubs on the radio.
WGN.
I like current issues. I like politics, something that I've gotten into over the years.
Thanks for jumping on board.
Self-responsibility, that is what switched me over.
The voice of Chicago.
You cracked me up.
News Talk 720 WGN.
Hi, I can't come to the phone right now because I'm abusing my children. Not just verbally, but physically. I'll get back to you.
If only child abuse was this easy to recognize. If you even suspect abuse, call Child Help at 1-800-4A-CHILD or visit childhelp.org. We've helped millions of people help millions of children. All calls are anonymous and confidential, so call 1-800-4A-CHILD or visit childhelp.org. Child Help. Trust your instincts. Brought to you by Child Help and the Ad Council.
If you're not facing your mortgage issues, this can be the most terrifying sound in the world. It means you've fallen behind. It means hope is dwindling. It means you're another call closer to losing your home to foreclosure. Fortunately, there's hope. If you need real help and guidance, call 1-888-995-HOPE. That's 1-888-995-4673. Because nothing is worse than doing nothing. A public service announcement brought to you by NeighborWorks, the Ad Council, and this station.
The following commercial is sponsored by FeedThePig.org, an organization devoted to helping you save money. We will not entice you with messages like
lowest prices in town, dealer approved, certified pre-owned.
Nor will we brag about our
huge selection, enormous variety.
We will offer no contingencies like
see store for details. Legal exclusions apply.
Because we simply want to help you spend smarter and save better. Log on to FeedThePig.org. Find the benefits of saving for every stage of life. Brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
What's more effective than a house alarm? More protective than a watchdog? And best of all, absolutely free. Questions. About to refinance your home or first-time home buyer? Asking questions is a powerful tool against predatory lenders, like,
is this the actual interest rate?
Can you explain each of these fees? For more questions that put predatory lenders on the run, call 866-222-FAIR. That's 866-222-3247 or go to questionsprotect.org. Question everything. Protect your home. Brought to you by the National Fair Housing Alliance and the Ad Council.
Garry Meier on WGN. Good afternoon, 126. Stephen, you're on the Big 720. Cubs baseball starts on Monday. Woohoo!
Yeah, go Cubs.
There we go.
Hey, I was going to talk about this earlier, but I didn't want to offend anybody in Chicago. I live in Wisconsin, but, the Olympic thing is really making me upset because, I don't hear anything about the Olympics and how prestigious it is, to have come to Chicago, and let's have it for those reasons, because it's the Olympics,
Right.
It's all about money. It's all about, and unfortunately the local government, Mayor Daley in particular, it's like, oh man, this is going to help us, with our money problems. We got to do this. We got to fix these roads. We got to paint things on the building. We got to make it look good.
Yeah.
But is that really what Chicago needs? I don't think they should be going all overboard to get the Olympics for those reasons.
Thank you, Stephen. Good
You're
point.
welcome.
Good point. And I was out last night, and there are some roads in this city that are almost impassable. I was reading an article about Daniel Burnham a few days ago, and he wanted to make Chicago, and did a good start on it, the Paris of the Prairie. Paris of the Prairie. You look around and see these streets, it's the Mumbai of the Prairie right now. I'm thinking, you get the Olympics when you're flush with some cash, things are going well. Seems to me there's a big deficit here. They've privatized the parking meters, Midway Airport, and the Skyway. Where did that money go? Because we still have some $400 million in a deficit. So I don't know what that's all about. Now he's going out, this will be good for the city, it's for the children. And I'm thinking, yeah, you'll throw up a few buildings and a stadium and this and that, and it's in 7 years, so who knows what the impact will be. I know Montreal, it took them 30 years to pay off the Olympics when they had it in the 70s. They just paid it off about a year ago. I don't know. And I got to be honest with you. I liked Daley for a while, but he's been mayor for 21 years. Imagine if we had the same president again for 21 years. This guy doesn't have an imagination to go 21 years, and it shows. He just thinks you throw up some buildings, and yeah, you put up some banners, and we're good. You have to have an incredible imagination to put something on like that. Look at Beijing. Now, I know they have a lot of people to do cheap labor and all that, but you've got to have what we saw with Daniel Burnham in 1893, the Columbian Exposition. You see pictures of that. It was unbelievable, the imagination that went into that. I don't see that with this. I just see they show those things. Well, we'll put some docks over there for the swimmers or whatever he's going to do. I just don't see it. And we don't have the money for it. And if they're using any taxpayer money to take these mopes around and eat cheesecake, I think that's enough, because he's saying the taxpayer's not going to be hit with this thing. Come on. Look we've got the highest sales tax already in the country. The parking meters, that thing is blowing up because that was not well orchestrated. And I'm asking you, so he wanted to make money on the parking meters, and what this company did, they came in and recalibrated them, so they now cost you 4 or 5 times more an hour than they used to. Why couldn't the city just recalibrate each parking meter and get triple, quadruple the money? What's so hard about that? Now, I know they got the money up front, but I hear it's a bad deal when you do it over the 50, 100 years, whatever the deal is. So there it is. There it is. That's what I got to say. I just don't see it. I don't see the Olympics coming here because of a lot of reasons. And I just think Daley is done. I think he's used up his gravitas, if you will. I don't see where this guy is coming from anymore. He doesn't realize that he keeps jumping on the taxpayer's back here. He let that mope Stroger go with the 10.25% sales tax. You know he could have stopped that because he's Mayor Daley. But that got through. Oh, how else can we gouge him? Well, we'll jack up the parking meters. The parking meters were supposed to be so if you didn't want to go into a garage and get screwed, you could pay for a parking meter for a quarter to. Anyway, I'll get back to this in your phone calls, 591-7200. Here is Wes Bleed at 1:30 on WGN News Talk 720.
And it appears the mass shooting and hostage drama in Binghamton, New York is over. Latest reports are the gunman has turned the gun on himself. The latest from ABC.
This just in, ABC News has confirmed a gunman who killed 13 people at an immigration service center in upstate New York has killed himself. ABC's Pierre Thomas is in contact with his federal sources.
The source is describing the situation as quite premeditated, that the suspect is believed to have driven a car to the back of the building, parked the car so that the back door could not be opened, and then went around the front, entered the building, and began a killing spree.
The gunman reportedly had a high-power rifle when he walked into the American Civic Association in Binghamton, New York, and opened fire. Sharon works across the street from the building.
We did see 2 people taken out on stretchers earlier this morning, and then maybe about a half an hour after that, it appeared that possibly about 15 hostages left the building.
Again, ABC News has confirmed 13 people are now dead in that shooting. With continuing coverage, bringing some hostage drama, I'm Alex Stone, ABC News.
And more throughout the afternoon and evening here on WGN Radio and WGNradio.com. WGN Sports, Blackhawks in Nashville tonight, 7:20 pregame on the radio and WGNradio.com. Exhibition baseball this afternoon featuring Cubs and Yankees and the Sox and the Diamondbacks. And now WGN Traffic in Traffic Central, Mark Napoleon.
West, the worst of the expressways, the inbound side of the Kennedy delayed from Lawrence all the way to the Circle, O'Hare to downtown, 55, 40 that from Montrose, and you can blame that on the outbound side of the Dan Ryan. Because of an accident, the Ryan is jammed up from the Kennedy up to 18th Street, where the left lane is blocked, 25 minutes to get out to 95th. And the inbound Ryan now is suffering from Pershing to 35th with a crash in the left lane. Then Canalport to the Circle, 95th in and 25. The other tight pocket happens to be on the northbound side of the Tri-State from Deerfield up to Everett, where there's a crash in the far left express lane. Only the right local lane is open. Mark Napoleon, WGN Traffic Central.
Our WGN forecast from the Weather Center, Joel Bonin.
It's a cool afternoon, all right, especially thanks to those west winds still gusting up to 25 miles per hour. Considerable sunshine does help. The high reaches about 51. Then tonight, count on light winds and clear sky. The low should cool to about 32. Tomorrow, you've got sunshine, a high of 49 degrees. It'll be slightly cooler near the lake. Sunday's a different story. It'll be windy and positively cold, just 40 degrees with a raw east wind. Rain on Sunday could change to wet snow Sunday night. I'm meteorologist Joel Bonin in the WGN Weather Center.
44 River Forest, 43 Lakefront. It is 47. Make that 46 at Midway and 46 at O'Hare. Next, full report of news, traffic, and weather coming up at 2 o'clock. I'm Wes Bleed, News Talk 720, WGN.
Hi, I'm Dr. Howard Friedrich, and I'd like to tell you about Suburban Orthopedics. Along with Dr. Tom McNally, our staff has been treating sports and spine injuries for over 20 years. We're experienced, we're compassionate, and our communication level is second to none. Professional athletes have chosen Suburban Orthopedics. Learn what we can do for you. Call 630-372-1100, 630-372-1100. At Suburban Orthopedics, we've been improving the quality of life for over 20 years.
And here's my cell phone number, the number of the restaurant.
Honey, come on, he'll be fine.
The odds of a babysitter calling 911, 1 in 1,400. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism, 1 in 150. Here are some of the signs. No big smiles or other joyful expressions by 6 months. No back and forth sharing of sounds or facial expressions by 9 months. And no babbling by 12 months. To learn more of the signs, visit autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Global warming is here. The effects may seem slight now, but in a few decades,
they could be massive. Heat waves, floods, and food shortages. What can we do? We can join together.
Because when many unite as one,
we can achieve anything.
Together, we're powerful. Find out how we can still reduce greenhouse gas pollution. Go to fightglobalwarming.com. Brought to you by Environmental Defense, the Robertson Foundation, and the Ad Council.
I am glad to be back with Max Armstrong and his financial erotica.
Rascal, I'm glad you're here. It's good to be with you, sir.
Thanks, Max.
Hey, we've got a higher market going at the moment. You know, if we can hang on to this for another hour and 25 minutes or so, we will have extended the rally into one more session. The Dow up 30. That puts it at 8,008. S&P up 6, NASDAQ up 15. Research in Motion hasn't hurt a bit. That's the company that brings you the BlackBerry, of course. Their stock up 22% today, up 10.85 a share after the report on earnings yesterday and their revised upgraded outlook. Here's a look at some of the blue chips here in the Midwest. Cat up $1.07 a share today. The stock of McDonald's down 13 cents. Kraft Foods 7 cents lower. Boeing, on the other hand, is up. They've gained 47 cents. Among the weaker shares, Abbott Labs down $1.30. Baxter International down $2.04 a share. The stock of Walgreens down 57 cents. As commodities closed today, wheat, corn, and for the most part, soybeans were higher. These were the prices near the close. May wheat up 13 to 563.5. May corn up a half at 403. December up a quarter at 434. May beans up 18.5 to 995.5. November beans up 8.5 cents at 924. April hogs up 60 to 60.27, and the April cattle up 87 cents. Up to 86.05. Updating the Dow for you. Currently up almost 38 points to 8,015. I'm Max Armstrong, News Talk 720 WGN.
If there was an emergency, would your family have enough water and non-perishable food to last 3 days? We asked families across the country. Here are some of their answers.
We usually eat fresh food daily.
In the pantry of canned tomatoes.
That's really not survival food, tomato paste.
The brand of dog food that I do purchase are edible by humans.
Is your plan any better? To learn more about making an emergency plan for your family, go to ready.gov. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the Ad Council.
So you've got something you want to say.
This is unbelievable.
This is where Chicago comes to talk. News Talk 720.
Yes, sir.
WGN.
Every 28 seconds, a car in the U.S. is stolen. What's even more shocking is that 25% of those vehicles had the keys inside. 60% were left unlocked, and 95% had no anti-theft devices. In times like these, protect yourself from auto theft by taking extra precautions. Never leave your vehicle running or with the keys in the ignition. Always lock your doors and keep your windows closed, even when parked in front of your own home. When away, park in busy, well-lighted places and never leave valuables in plain view. Equip your car or truck with an alarm or other theft deterrent device. Never leave your vehicle registration in your car. If you do become a victim of auto theft, report it immediately. Have your make, model, license plate, and vehicle ID number available to help authorities recover your vehicle. To learn more about protecting yourself from auto theft, visit ncpc.org or contact your local law enforcement agency.
A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
I love Lou Manfredini. I love those shows where they work on houses and stuff. And Lou's got real skill. I don't have any skills. That guy's got skills. Anybody who can build things with their hands and whatnot. Good afternoon, Garry Meier on WGN. This and all shows on 720 stream live at WGNradio.com. You know who loved to stream? I hear Jack Brickhouse. That's what I hear. They should make his statue over here on Michigan Avenue a fountain. Doug Ekman, you're on the blower. How you doing?
Hello, Gary.
Now, Doug, you might recognize his voice, is the doctor in those Max Madsen commercials. This is the doctor.
Well, hello, this is the doctor. And the doctor and Max are so happy to hear Garry Meier on WGN Radio.
Thank you, Doug.
This is, it was only a matter of time, you know. There's old cliches, the cream rise to the top.
I don't want to get into a love fest here, but you're a good friend. You've been very supportive.
No.
And he has advertising money, so that's why he's on. That's where I got to go, Doug. These are tough times.
Let me say one last thing. WGN is Chicago, and there's no other radio personality that's more Chicago than Garry Meier. And this is a marriage that Should have been made years ago, and we're happy that it's been made now. It's going to be a great, great, great arrangement.
All right, Doug, now you got to spend money on this station. Promise? Promise?
Hey, wait a minute. I think there's a guy named Blagojevich who got in trouble for the same thing. Right?
This isn't politics, though. This is commerce.
Well,
Okay, this is not on the public trough. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
All right.
partner. Bye-bye.
All right. Lee, you're on WGN. How are you?
Hi, Gary.
What's going on?
Glad you're on board.
Thank you, Lee.
See, I'm glad you provided a forum for us to be able to say something about the corruption and problems that are going on. I feel so strongly, and your guest just a minute ago mentioned Blagojevich and the problems. I'm a firm believer that this really stems from how contributions are being allowed to be.
Well, it costs almost $1 billion to run for president now, and it's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have a limit, or you all get $50,000, and then you got to make that work or something. There's got to be a ceiling on this thing. And by the way, I'm glad you mentioned Blagojevich again. How do you go down to Disney World when you know you're probably going to be indicted? You've just been tossed out as the governor of Illinois. How do you go enjoy that vacation? I ask you.
You have to have a big ego to do something.
Well, that's
like
what I mean. This guy, I don't know, he seems a little out there.
Really out there. But, this is a government for the people and by the people. And, companies and corporations aren't the people. That's why I don't understand why they're allowed to do all the contributions that actually the money, like you say, puts these people in office.
Well, that's what's happening there. You get these lobbyists, and then they start trading this money, and then these politicians go, well, let's take care of this guy or that guy. And that's the way it goes.
Would it be possible to stop contributions to companies and corporations?
I don't know. I don't think so. I doubt it at this point. They're so in deep with all that. But, Lee, I just keep thinking of Blagojevich down there in Florida, and he goes up to, hi, Goofy, I'm Goofy. Glad to meet you. It's like a mirror image of himself. How do you go on vacation when that indictment was unbelievable, and they're down there, and now he doesn't want to talk to the press. This guy ran around for months talking to the press, so now they're going, I'm on vacation. Don't bother me. Well, you seem to like it, but now you don't like it, I guess, huh? All right, Lee, thank you.
You bet.
I got to get some other calls. Thank you, Lee. Got to grab some more calls here. Hey, Dave, you're on WGN. What's up?
Hey, Gary, I've been a fan since you started.
Thank you.
Back in the 40s, right? No, I'm sorry.
It seems like it, doesn't it, Dave?
Yeah, this world, my business is slow and everything else. Plus, I smoke. Is it legal to grow tobacco?
Is it legal to grow regular tobacco? How do you grow tobacco? Like, I know they grow marijuana in somebody's bedroom somewhere out there, but tobacco, is that a tricky process where you have to be in North Carolina?
Well, I'm going to maybe try a little greenhouse. I have to add menthol to it, though. That's the
My
problem.
God, you guys are getting, now it's what, $9 a pack? Or whatever it is?
Suburbs, $6.50.
It's brutal. I have a theory, and I don't mean any harm when I say this, but they should lower the price of cigarettes because, I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to support all the people on this planet in the next 25 years. We're making people live longer because of our health care and this and that. How are we going to there's not going to be any water, they say, in about 25 or 50 years to support all these people. We've got to start culling the herd. No offense to you. If you want to smoke your brains out, that is your prerogative.
And I really miss the holiday, your Christmas holiday. I can't wait. I cry every time.
Oh, geez.
So I've been missing that for years.
Yeah, Dave was talking about when I relive a moment in my childhood when I didn't get any presents. It's hard to believe when you hear me now that I didn't get any presents. I was like this as a kid. So there was just coal in my stocking.
Oh, it's great. And I got more information on the governor. Did you hear it today?
What?
It'll cost you $100 if you want to hear it.
Thank you, Dave.
I'll see you.
All right. Tony, you're on WGN. What's up?
Yeah, everybody's jumping on Blunt, which I am too. But the thing is, I didn't vote for this guy. Where are all these people that voted for him the second time around when people were already, I remember questioning his sanity. That's what burns me up, is all these guys now are ready to raise the cross and crucify the guy, which is fine, but some of you guys got to go along with it,
Here's the deal, Tony, and I don't know how to break this to Quinn, but I doubt very much that he can be reelected because I think if you look at the record of any governor in this country that's raised taxes, they've never gotten reelected. I know it has to be done probably, and I guess that's the guy that's got to bear the bad news. But forget about the reelection. Save your money, Quinn. You're not going to get reelected, no matter if you're the greatest governor in the next whatever amount of months, because as soon as you raise taxes, people don't care. He raised my taxes, done. So I'll save him a lot of heartache right now.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And he's got to shine his shoes more. The few times I've met the guy, his shoes have been dusty. Listen, people look at your shoes, Tony. They evaluate you. When they look at you, they're going to look at your shoes, and they're going to make a judgment. So just make you have nice shoes.
Well, welcome aboard, Gary.
Thank you, Tony.
All right, take Take care.
All right. Appreciate it. Hey, Johnny, over by there.
Hey, Gary, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Johnny V from the pump room.
Johnny V.
Very good.
Over by the pump room.
Yeah, we got to get those Jake pizza commercials on your show, Gary.
What's that all about, Johnny?
Listen,
whatever.
on Cardinal George, I wish he was as raged about President Obama with what's going on in his own parish. I think he has enough things to be embarrassed about, and he doesn't have to step outside of that circle to look for it.
Thank you, Johnny. I have a Cobb salad of topics right now. There's a little carrot there. There's some eggs and bacon. So it's all over the place if you want to call in. But he's referring to maybe Cardinal George talking about, well, I know he's talking about this. Obama is going to speak at Notre Dame, and Cardinal George is crazy about that because Obama is pro-abortion, and that's not what the Church, the Catholic Church, professes. And I don't think it's right. I just think it's a bad thing. Okay, here's the problem. And being Catholic, okay, I think I can speak on this. That whole priest scandal thing that has drained the Catholic Church for years, where's the rage against that? That thing, I still can't put my brain around that. Did I see that the number of priests that were accused of abuse was like 11% of the priesthood? Imagine if 11% of all plumbers were child abusers. I mean, it's an amazing number. And they let these priests circulate around, and now he's worried about Obama going to Notre Dame. Great. That's terrific. BJ.
Yes.
How are you?
Hello. Gosh, I have so many things to talk about
Boy,
now.
hey, you should be inside my head.
Well, that's why. You're the cause. You let all these topics
Okay. It's a lazy Susan of topics. Pick one and jump on.
Well, the first one is, you misspoke a little. I don't think Obama is pro-abortion, nor any of us. What we are is we like to mind our own business.
Right. Okay.
We like to have a choice and not
pro-choice.
tell other people what to do.
Pro-choice. I'm sorry. You're right. I should rephrase that. Pro-choice.
That's number one.
Okay.
It's not my business to tell you or your wife or whatever.
Really?
Anybody
There's
else.
too much of it. Right. It's none of my. I'm a very big, none of your business guy. It's none of my business. I really profess that. So
Okay,
you're absolutely right.
You're having a very busy, active first show there.
Right. I hope I'm not peaking.
The second thing is, I think the Obama kids, not the Obama kids, the Blagojevich kids were promised Disney World, and it's their spring break.
Boy, those
Why
poor
punish
kids.
the kids?
Yeah, the kids always get ground up in these messes.
Exactly. I mean, they do. Exactly.
I understand
they were
that.
Promised,
but how
to go, and
I'm sorry.
so why? What are you going to say to them? We can't go because Daddy's in deep doo-doo.
Daddy's about to be indicted. I know.
Right,
this is
so that's kind of sad.
And it's sad that he didn't think about his kids before. What's that?
Don't you feel badly for
Well, I was
them?
going to say, when you're going to do something that might impact your life, and you have a wife and kids, it impacts all of them.
Yeah.
And
I
the
don't think
kids get
she's all
ground
that-
up in this.
She doesn't seem to be all that innocent either. I think she barely escaped indictment herself, didn't she?
Well, she's not indicted so far. So far,
right.
innocent until proven guilty, BJ. I appreciate the call. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
Good luck
Take
to you.
care. Thank you.
Bye.
Ken, you're on WGN.
Yes, hey, I love your format. Let the callers pick the topic. Very, very cool.
Listen, you're the money shot here. We're just providing you a format. I'm just here to help you along.
All right, now, on the whole Blago thing, I don't blame him for going on vacation down to Disney World because, number one, he's acting like a man who sincerely believes he didn't do anything wrong. So when all this goes to court, it's going to be real interesting to see what kind of evidence, and I put evidence in quotes, that he has to back up the fact that he didn't do anything wrong. It'll be real interesting to see. So he's acting like someone who is like didn't do anything wrong. So
well, that's been his MO lately.
Right.
For the last 4 months.
That's item number one. Item number two is it's not like he'll be able to talk about it to the press or anyone else right now until it goes to court because all that stuff will come out and possibly be held against him.
So now that he's post-indictment, he's got to zip his yapper?
Right. That's what I'm thinking. And one more question on a personal note.
Here it comes.
The
wind-up, and here we go.
At what point did it become cool to associate with WGN?
Well, Ken, things change, okay? And it's a radio station, and they're letting me do what I do, so I don't know what the problem is.
Awesome. You rock, man. Totally.
Thank you, Ken.
All right.
Hey, the thing is, you got a station, and I mentioned this on a it's called a promo. They run it throughout the day. you have a network like CBS, and they have 60 Minutes, and they have The Price is Right on. Okay, say Milt Rosenberg is 60 Minutes. I'm The Price is Right. There's a variety. A lot of stuff can happen on one station. It's not going to kill anybody. But this Blagojevich thing, okay, what about the mopes down in Springfield that were always around him for the last whatever amount of years he was in? Didn't they notice anything? They go, yeah, now they're doing the pile-on. What were they doing down there? He was behind closed doors all the time doing this stuff, and they didn't know anything for years? Okay, maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't. Lori, you're on WGN. Hello.
Oh, hey, Gary. God, it's great to have you back on.
Thank you, Lori.
And especially on GN. Who cares? As long as they let you do what you want.
Listen, there's a microphone, there's a transmitter. Done.
Oh, Gary, I'm just so excited. I've been a fan of yours for years, and my brother Billy, too.
Thank you, Lori.
I'm calling about the Catholic Church thing. I agree with you 100%. I've raised very Polish Catholic, church every Sunday. Now I consider myself a recovering Catholic. I don't give one dime to any organized religion. I still feel as close to God as ever, but no more organized religion. And you said 11%?
Well, I think that's the number I remember. Well, when this thing was unfolding over the years, remember? Every month there was another 2 or 3, and the billions that they had to pay out, and now they're in the hole trying to get money to fix churches and whatnot. Okay, but you could have stopped this years ago, but they let it go.
And these guys are just an abomination. I can't believe anybody. I had a couple friends that were like, oh, you should come back. I'm like, no. Do you go to church anymore?
Well, let's see. Easter's coming up. I'm an Easter Christmas kind of guy.
I can't even go for that anymore. We do a celebration with the family.
And it's tough because I grew up Catholic, and I still believe in all that for the most part. But
so do I, just not the organized religion part.
It really made it tough as a Catholic to go through that and then not have them address it properly. And now we're going with our cardinal going, well, I don't think Obama should go to Notre Dame. Like, speak out on that. Like, the president shouldn't go to Notre Dame because he's pro-choice. All right.
Exactly.
Thank you, Lori. I got to run.
Bye.
All right. 591-7200, more phone calls and a lot more after these words.
I'm Milton Bradley. Chicago Cubs baseball.
The Cubs are on the radio.
WGN.
Tomorrow at 1:30.
The 3-2.
It's the Cubs at the new Yankee Stadium.
On the home of the Chicago Cubs. Yes, sir. News Talk 720. WGN.
Have you ever been so wrapped up by the scenery on a golf course that you really didn't care about your score? Soon, it will be your time to play. And Eagle Ridge Resort and Spa in Galena will be your place this spring. Celebrate your very own opening day. Make it an extra special event at Eagle Ridge, ranked one of the top 3 golf resorts in the Midwest by Travel and Leisure Golf. It's just a short drive away. Every one of the 63 championship holes at Eagle Ridge Resort and Spa is unique. And any golfer who's at all serious about the game has to play the General, among the top 100 courses in America. And after your day of play, the accommodations at Eagle Ridge are just as spectacular. In one of the 80 inn rooms or 300 villas or distinctive homes, there's excellent dining on the premises, and relaxation awaits in their Stone Drift Spa. Right now, Eagle Ridge Resort and Spa has several golf packages. One of them is sure to be perfect for your foursome or a getaway with your sweetheart. For details, go to EagleRidge.com or call 877-64-EAGLE. Now's the time to make plans for springtime golf at Eagle Ridge Resort and Spa in Galena.
The new Binny's Beverage Depot in the South Loop is more than just Chicago's largest wine, spirits, and beer superstore. It features a huge wine bar, a full-service gourmet grocery, the largest temperature-controlled wine cellar in Chicago, a special whiskey cellar with rare and collectible spirits, and more. Binny's South Loop is located at 1132 South Jefferson, just off Roosevelt. For the guaranteed lowest prices on every bottle, every day, shop any of Binny's 21 Chicagoland superstores.
The odds of becoming a signed artist and having 3 #1 albums? 1 in 100 million. The odds of going on to win 6 Grammy Awards? 1 in 1.4 million. And the odds of this performer having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 150. I'm Toni Braxton, and I encourage you to learn the signs of autism at autismspeaks.org. Autism Speaks. It's time to listen.
Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Garry Meier on WGN. Steve Cochran coming up at 4 o'clock. I want to thank Steve for having me in on his program last night. And John Williams this morning. Really appreciate that. 591-7200. There is, as we say in Hawaii, a poopery of topics out there that I'm talking about. Tony, pick one and jump on.
Well, you know the sign at O'Hare Airport when you leave the airport, welcome to Chicago?
Uh-huh.
What about a running tote board at the bottom? 3 of our former governors have been jailed and convicted. Our last elected governor is now under indictment. 30 aldermen have gone to jail since 1973. 30 school children have been killed in the streets of Chicago. Our sales tax is at 10.25%.
Right.
Welcome to Chicago. Take out your wallet.
Right.
Have a nice day.
New tote. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
New tote. Bill, you're on WGN.
Hey, Gary, how you doing?
Hey, Bill.
Hey, I was just thinking about when you win the Super Bowl, what happens? You go to Disney World. And when you win the World Series, what happens?
You go to
Disney
right.
World. So evidently, if you're an impeached governor of Illinois on the day your indictment comes out, you go to Disney World.
That's the way it is, because that's where you go.
I guess so.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, buddy.
Good point. I don't know how, and I know the woman called and said, hey, it's for the kids. It's for the children. It's, as our mayor would say, it's for the children. And they had planned this trip probably, who knows when. But I don't know how you go and enjoy anything. And let's go back to when he was first pulled out of his house by the FBI. The next day, he's out jogging in that silly jogging suit, running around in the snow and going to his office, which apparently he didn't do much before that time. And I'm thinking, I know how when I've gone through some stuff, I can't leave the house for a while because it's just like I got to sit and think and get my bearings. He's out the next day. And that guy said, well, maybe he's innocent, and maybe he is. He'll have his day in court. And wouldn't that be something, after all this, that he's actually innocent? So we shall see. We shall see. 312-591-7200. Now, Elton Jim will be on the program with me throughout the run here, and Elton is our Santo. He will be doing his Ron Santo along the way, and on Monday it is the opening day of the Cubs, which is almost like a religious holiday.
Oh,
in this
this
town.
is come on, and then being first day of opening day on WGN Radio.
Yes.
As a Cub fan, grew up on the Northwest Side, right off of Addison Street. You take the bus down Addison. Come on.
This is a man who is not 12 years old, I can tell you that, but he has a Ron Santo jersey that he puts on maybe to watch the games at home. I know he's walked around the streets with it, and I've seen him at Cubs games.
Well, I went to the Cubs thing, the fantasy camp, and I wore Ronnie's number.
So this is the kind of fever. Now, I will get into that a little later. We'll do some Ron Santo, and we're going to talk about how this city has jumped the shark a number of times, but Jim and I witnessed it just a week ago. And we have to talk about that. We'll do that after 2 o'clock. 591-7200. Carol, hello.
Hi. Hey, Gary, aloha Friday. I'm calling from Maui, and I'm so happy you're on. I'm listening on the computer, and you've saved my radio because you know how it is here in Hawaii. Not a lot of good radio.
Do you live there?
Yes, I do. I've lived here for 6 years. Moved from the Chicago area.
What do you do there?
I'm actually a resort manager. And it's great. We moved here 6 years ago, originally from Palatine, but moved from McHenry.
Actually, now it's cheaper to live in Maui than Chicago. You left at the right time. It used to be where when you went to the islands, and as some people would say when they're over there, we're going back to the United States, and they'd love that there when we're part of the United States, okay? You're going back to the mainland. But it's so expensive here. I think it's cheaper in Maui, although everything's expensive there, I'm sure.
Well, it is to a point, but, everything's the same price. Kmart, Costco, it's all the same price. And housing's gone down here a little bit, so we're maybe about even. But I've got the weather and no snow, so.
It's got to be magnificent. I've been there 8 or 9 times, and it is paradise until that volcano on the Big Island goes and spreads all over you on the other islands.
We always say lucky we live Hawaii, and every day I still feel lucky. So
yeah.
I'm just really happy. And, if you ever come back again, we'll give you a tour.
I would love to do that, Carol. Thank you.
And thanks again for being back on. Like I said, I appreciate it. I can hear you in the morning, and then I get to work, and I can listen. And, it's great.
Mahalo.
It's great to hear you.
Mahalo.
Okay, thanks, Gary.
Do you have a monkey pod bra on right now?
No.
All the women wear monkey pod bras. Okay, thank you, Carol.
Okay,
right.
bye-bye.
All right, I want to get Jim in before I go to news. Jim, you're on WGN. Good afternoon.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, Jim.
Listened to you for years. I just don't know if, free to say whatever you want, but I want to make a case. And, kind of a rough start to start blasting the Catholic Church as a whole when, admittedly, a twice-a-year churchgoer doesn't speak for your listeners or potential listeners or us as Catholics.
Hey, Jim, I got a time crunch. Would you mind holding on and I can take the call again after the news?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'd like to talk to you about this.
Sure.
You make a good point, and I'll address that.
Sure.
All right, hang on. It is 2 o'clock, and this is News Talk 720 WGN Chicago. Here's Wes Bleed.
It is 46 degrees under a partly sunny sky in Chicago. And in New York, tragedy today in Binghamton. As many as a dozen people have been shot and killed, and the gunman apparently is among the dead. The mass shooting and hostage ordeal began a few hours ago at an Immigration Services Center in Binghamton. Binghamton Police Captain Alex Miner.
We have 13 to 14 confirmed dead. We're still in the process of attempting to clear the building at this point.
As many as 41 hostages had been taken. The governor of New York says it is a tragic day for his state. The Labor Department says 663,000 jobs were shed in March. Thousands more than the 650,000 that analysts had been expecting. The job cuts pushed the nation's unemployment rate to 8.5%, and that is the highest level in more than 25 years. Putting people back to work is getting a little bit easier here in Illinois. Governor Quinn has signed a $3 billion construction program aimed at creating jobs.
If you're able-bodied and you're breathing, we want you working in Illinois.
The state is going to be borrowing money for road and bridge construction, as well as mass transit projects, the money to be repaid through the state's road fund and the general fund. Quinn also signed measures today, giving him the power to remove ex-Governor Blagojevich's appointments from pension boards, saying reform is a top priority. Mayor Daley is reacting to the indictment of Blagojevich, as well as a former Daley aide. The mayor says time to move on from the scandal, as WGN's David Stewart reports.
John Harris, who served the Daley administration in several posts before moving on to become Rod Blagojevich's chief of staff, was allegedly involved in the scheme to pressure Congressman Rahm Emanuel for campaign donations. Harris is charged with one count of wire fraud and is cooperating with prosecutors. His former boss, Mayor Daley, called it a sad situation for Blagojevich.
It's really unfortunate for him. He's a young man. He's 52 years old. He has 2 children, a wife. Most of them are all young. Look at them, all young. These are young people involved in politics. It's a very sad comment.
But Daley says the state has moved on and Pat Quinn is the governor. David Stewart, WGN News.
Criminal charges against a 10-year-old boy could happen in Indiana, where a 10-year-old could face felony charges, police say, after leading them on a chase along US 50 near Cincinnati and crashing his parents' minivan. Police say the Aurora boy was treated for minor injuries at a hospital and then taken to a juvenile detention center in Lawrenceburg. Iowa has become the third state where same-sex couples can tie the knot. The state Supreme Court in Iowa has upheld a lower court decision that said the state's law banning same-sex marriage was unconstitutional. Illinois could not be too far behind. Jim Madigan is executive director of Equality Illinois.
The civil union bill is so close to passage in the Illinois legislature that the fact that we are now behind Iowans in terms of our support for same-sex couples means that it's time to pass the civil union bill.
Around the nation, only Massachusetts and Connecticut permit same-sex marriage. President Obama is picking up European support as he prepares to formally outline his new Afghan strategy. ABC's White House correspondent Ann Compton is traveling with the president.
There was robust European applause when President Obama condemned torture, and again when he said American values don't fit with terrorist detention.
We can never sacrifice them for expedience's sake. That's why I've ordered the closing of the detention center in Guantanamo Bay.
President Sarkozy declared that France will take custody of a detainee if that will help speed the closure. Ann Compton, ABC News, Strasbourg.
On Wall Street, stocks have moved into positive territory. The Dow now up 8 points, NASDAQ ahead by 15. And finally, 2 disbarred lawyers accused of scamming hundreds of clients out of millions of dollars have been found guilty of fraud by a Kentucky jury. The defense claims the 2 were just following advice on how to divvy up the $200 million settlement for 440 clients who claimed that they'd been hurt by a diet drug fen-phen. Sports, traffic, and weather coming up next. WGN News Time, 2:04.
Hi, I'm Dr. Howard Friedrich, and I'd like to tell you about Suburban Orthopedics. Along with Dr. Tom McNally, our staff has been treating sports and spine injuries for over 20 years. We're experienced, we're compassionate, and our communication level is second to none. Professional athletes have chosen Suburban Orthopedics. Learn what we can do for you. Call 630-372-1100, 630-372-1100. At Suburban Orthopedics, we've been improving the quality of life for over 20 years.
Honey, put this on top of the minivan.
We're only going for 2 weeks. You want me to back the kitchen sink, too?
Well, is there room?
Hey, you guys, you going on vacation?
Who's that?
I don't know.
Because we're planning on robbing your house tonight.
All right, I'm calling an alarm service.
Wouldn't it be great if you could be warned of life's risks? If you have diabetes, you can. There's a simple blood test called A1C that can help measure your risk of complications from diabetes. Why is it important? Because more than 600 people every day die from diabetes and its complications. If your A1C is above 7, your doctor can show you how to lower it. If you have diabetes, know your risk. Know your A1C. Ask your doctor, or for more information, go to www.diabetesa1c.org or call 1-877-TEST-A1C. Brought to you by the American Diabetes Association, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation International, and the Ad Council.
2:05 WGN Sports, WGN Blackhawks update. Blackhawks hosting Nashville tonight. 7:20 pregame here on WGN as well as WGNradio.com. Exhibition baseball today. Cubs and Yankees in the Sox and Arizona. Go at it. WGN traffic now. In Traffic Central, Mark Napoleon.
Looking pretty good on the outbound Edens West. The inbound side tied up Toohey to Montrose. Lake Cook in 35 minutes. Outbound Kennedy OK inbound. Tight Nagel to the Circle. Mixed it at Kimball. A stall in the center lane. O'Hare in 50. 30 of that will come from Montrose. Outbound Ike not bad yet. Inbound slows Wolf to Des Plaines in from 53. 35 minutes. The outbound Stevenson tight. Pulaski to Cicero. 2-355-40. Inbound slow Central into Cicero. It's about 40 minutes in from 355. The outbound Ryan on the break Circle to 18th up to 95th 25. Inbound slows Roosevelt to the Circle. 95th in a little less than 20 minutes. Ford 57. Elgin O'Hare Lakeshore Drive. They look good. Northbound Tri-State on the brakes Deerfield up to Everett because of an earlier accident. Jane Addams is in pretty good shape. The westbound Ronald Reagan. Road work at Orchard for about another half hour or so. It's taking up the right lane. Veterans Memorial looks good. Eastbound 8094 on the brakes Ripley to the Indiana Toll Road as they clean up from a crash. The other side's all right. Mark Napoleon, WGN Traffic Central.
In the WGN Weather Center, here's meteorologist Joel Bonnet.
Unfortunately, there's just no appreciable warm air on the horizon, even into next week, and it might be that you're not quite finished with that snow shovel just yet. But no worries this afternoon. With lots of sunshine, it will be cool, 51 degrees, with a west wind adding a bit of a chill. Tonight, the winds relax, and with clear sky, the low drops to 32. Tomorrow should be a sunny day, reaching 49 degrees, though cooler near the lake. Sunday's windy and cold with rain by day. Rain could change to wet snow Sunday night. The high only 40 with a raw east wind. The WGN 5-day forecast. There could be a couple inches of snow early Monday, then afternoon flurries. It'll be windy and cold, just 38 degrees. Tuesday morning, flurries, then partial sunshine with a high of 44. I'm meteorologist Joel Bonnet in the WGN Weather Center.
46 right now at, make that 46% of the humidity with a northwest wind at 15, gusting at times to 29 miles an hour. 48 degrees in Homewood. It's 42 in LaPorte, 43 at the lakefront, and 49 both at Midway and O'Hare. Your next scheduled news update coming up at 2:30. Get news on demand at WGNradio.com. I'm Wes Bleed, News Talk 720 WGN.
Good afternoon. Garry Meier on 720, the big AMer out of Chicago. I know you're thinking, Wes Bleed sounded like he was taking orders at a Burger King. It was distorted. We realize that. They're going to fix the microphone. Wes, you're aware of that.
Double cheeseburger.
Whopper fries. It was distorted, and we know that. So
Yes.
If you're trying to adjust your radio, don't bother. It's on our end, and we'll fix it free of charge.
I thought it was something I had done, and of course, that always puts you just a little bit askew. You know, you're a little off balance.
Right.
And of course, with your first full-time show, I wanted to do what I could
Thank you,
to
Wes.
make it as difficult as possible.
You're a master at it.
You bet.
Thank you, my man. Jim was nice enough to hold on through the break, and I was talking to him about this. Cardinal Francis George called the University of Notre Dame's decision to invite President Obama to speak at its commencement an extreme embarrassment to Catholics. And I said, well, the pre-scandal, I thought that was an embarrassment, and that should have been handled better. And now Jim wants to throw in some defense of Catholics, which I am one of. Jim, go ahead. Thank you.
Sure. Well, I don't think one is predicated upon the other. I think we can be embarrassed of the scandal and of the Obama invitation and, as well-rounded Catholics. I'm not prepared maybe to debate fact by fact, and, neither are you probably, but, Yeah, I know it's less. It was less than 2%. To be fair,
Was it 2%? It was a lot of priests.
Which is a horrible situation.
Right. Even 2% of any industry, that's a lot of child molesters.
No question. And it was handled poorly. I contend in my circles that there was a door opened for those type of people to get in. It wasn't anything that the priesthood converted people to do. It was a place where predators knew they could get in for a certain period that's been rectified. The Pope, his apology. There's a lot of things